My gardening goals for 2017 are pretty much the same as they were for 2016. Grow more, work less, spend less, learn more, and have more fun. But this year I hope to do a better job of helping you achieve these same goals. Today I'll talk about how well I did on these goals in 2016, how I plan to make more progress on them this year, and how I hope to help you achieve these goals in your garden. Our first goal is to grow more food. We made a lot of progress on this goal in 2016. We grew all winter long. We started spring and summer crops earlier than ever before. We expanded the front yard garden, and we made better use of our growing space. In late winter and early spring, the hoop house allowed us to start more seeds early without taking up space in the grow room. And the plants didn't need to be hardened off before they were transplanted into the garden. We also started potatoes under plastic in mid-March, and cucumbers and squash under cold frames weeks before the average last frost date. All of these efforts gave us earlier harvests and larger total yields. Finally, we expanded the front yard garden by adding 3 fire ring beds where we grew eggplants, peppers, and basil. And we pushed the limits of tomato production in the backyard by growing some cherry tomatoes in partial shade. I hope to grow even more food in 2017 by further expanding the front yard garden. We've always grown peppers and eggplants there, but this year we'll also grow onions, leeks, sweet potatoes, and scarlet runner beans. And because the front yard garden gets a lot more sun than the backyard, we may also try growing sugar baby watermelons there. In addition, our new hinge low tunnels give us more growing space to start more cool weather crops early in late winter and early spring. And when this low tunnel is no longer needed on this bed to protect cool weather crops, I'll move it to another bed to start summer crops early. Finally, I plan to focus on crops that produce higher yields. For example, though I'll grow a number of tomato varieties, I'll grow more sweet millions than anything else, because they produce much higher yields than any other variety we've grown. I'll also grow other proven producers like straight 8 cucumbers and Triunfo Violetto pole beans. To help you grow more food in your garden this year, I'll soon share my complete spring garden layout and planting schedule to give you a better idea of how you can grow a lot of food in a limited space. I'll also share a planting tool to help you plan your spring planting based on your last frost date. And as always, I'll share my experiences growing a lot of food on a little land in my Grow More Food video series. My second goal is to work less. In 2016, my only significant projects were to build 2 hinge low tunnels and to modify these cold frames to stand upright. These projects required much less work than the hoop house build in 2015 or the raised bed builds in prior years. And as I've shown in my 7 Days in the Garden series, outside of these projects, I typically spend less than a couple hours per week working in the garden. I expect to do even less work in 2017. The only projects that I anticipate are building a small raised bed and maybe some cold frames. I'll downsize my vermicomposting operation from 4 bins to 3, and I'll plant more perennials, which take a lot less work over time than annuals. But probably the biggest time saver for me this year is that my rock dust and biochar field trials are now complete, and I won't have to weigh all the produce from those beds anymore. I may do some small short-term trials this year, but I don't think I'll be taking on any more multi-year trials in the foreseeable future. So how will I help you work less in 2017? I'll continue to identify gardening practices that you may be able to eliminate in your garden while still getting great results. And I'll continue to share my experiences as an example of how you can grow a lot of food without working harder than you have to. My third goal is to spend less. Unfortunately, I fell short of my stated spending goal for 2016. I had planned on spending only $200 or less, but I ended up spending more. I also planned on bringing you quarterly expense updates, but I lost my receipts. This year I'll keep things simple. I won't set specific spending limits, and I won't attempt to track expenses. Instead, I'll focus on gardening practices that I know will keep our costs down. For example, I won't spend a penny on soil amendments. I'll make my own compost and vermicompost from free local resources. I'll save seeds, plant perennials, and grow self-sown annuals. I'll plant garlic and potatoes from bulbs and tubers from last year's harvest. And I'll use mostly repurposed materials to build new cold frames. To help you save money in 2017, I'll continue to share my low-cost gardening methods, as well as my thoughts on various gardening products that you may not need to use in your garden. As I've said before, my approach to frugal gardening isn't to buy gardening products when they're on sale. It's to not buy them at all whenever possible. My fourth goal is to learn more, and 2016 was a great year for learning. Having this channel has been a great learning experience. I learned by researching topics for videos and fact-checking my assumptions, and I learned from you. I also learned from excellent sources like the Garden Professor's blog Facebook page and my favorite gardening books. I hope to continue to learn and grow as a gardener in 2017 and to share what I learned with you in videos. I'm also slowly but surely writing a gardening book. Though I don't expect to have it finished in 2017, I do hope to make some headway on it by writing about 200 to 300 words per day through the year. My fifth goal is to have more fun. With less work to do in 2016, I had more leisure time to simply enjoy the garden. And as I said before, I expect to have less work to do this year, so I should have even more time to enjoy. And I hope the methods that I share in my videos will save you time by eliminating unnecessary work, so that you have more leisure time to simply enjoy your garden. I'm really excited about getting started with my 2017 garden. In my next video, I'll share my complete spring garden layout and planting schedule. And soon after that, I'll share a planting tool that you can use in your garden to plan your spring planting. Before closing, I just wanted to wish you a happy and bountiful new year, both in your garden and in all areas of your life. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more videos on how to grow a lot of food on a little land without spending much or working harder than you have to.